Robinhood. You've heard the name, right? It conjures up this idea of taking from the rich and giving to the poor. And, in a way, the app kind of did that for investing. It took this complicated, expensive world and just handed it to millions of people on their phones. But is that really the whole story? Let's break it down.
Yeah, it's not quite that simple, is it? Because for every person who loved the app, you find a comment like this one, pulled straight from a Reddit forum for beginner investors. This quote, it just perfectly captures the two sides of Robinhood. It's an amazing starting point, but for some, it's also a frustrating trap.
So to really get what's going on, we're going to deconstruct this whole thing, layer by layer. We'll start with how it completely changed investing. Then we'll unpack that whole free trading model, expose some of the big cracks in its foundation, analyze the huge effect it's had on the market, and then finally we'll ask, what does it all mean for how we invest today? All right, first up, the app that changed investing. So what was the big deal? Why did millions of people suddenly jump on board? Okay, so you got to remember what it was like before Robinhood. You were dealing with the old guard. We're talking clunky, super confusing websites and, of course, fees for just about every click. It felt like a private club designed for experts. Then, bam, Robinhood comes along. It's slick, it's on your phone, and it has one killer promise: zero commission trading for everyone. And this comment from Reddit, it just perfectly captures the vibe at the time. I mean, it's blunt, but it's exactly how so many people felt. They were just sick of these old platforms that felt like they were stuck in the past. Robinhood felt new, it felt fresh, it felt like the future. But that amazing free promise, well, it brings up a huge question. And that leads us straight to our next section, the paradox of free trading.
This is the question. You've heard the saying, right? If you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. So how on earth does Robinhood make any money when its main feature is giving something away for free?
The answer is something called payment for order flow, or POFF for short. It's a little controversial, but it's super common. In a nutshell, Robinhood gets paid by these gigantic, super fast trading companies for the right to handle your trades. So here's how it works. First, you decide to buy a stock and hit the button on the app. Second, instead of your order going to a big public exchange like the NYSE, Robinhood sends it to a private, high-frequency trading firm. Third, that firm executes your trade, and they make a tiny profit. We're talking fractions of a penny on something called the spread, but multiply that by millions of trades and it adds up fast. And finally, that firm pays Robinhood a little kickback for sending them your business. Your order flow? That's the real product Robinhood is selling.
Now, this whole model is built on technology and massive volume, but there's a flip side. It creates some pretty serious vulnerabilities, and that's where we start to see the cracks in the foundation.
Get this, over $100 million. That was the estimated cost of a single Amazon Web Services outage back in October of 2025. And since Robinhood's entire platform is built on cloud services like AWS, when the cloud goes down, Robinhood goes down with it. This specific outage happened at AWS's huge data center in Virginia. And it didn't just hit Robinhood. It took down big chunks of the internet. We're talking Snapchat, Coinbase, all kinds of major services. It was a huge wake-up call about the risks of so many companies relying on the same centralized infrastructure. And this stuff isn't rare. A staggering 87% of organizations had a cloud outage in 2024 alone. And for regular users, these outages aren't just technical problems, they have very real consequences. This person is talking about the whole GameStop fiasco, an absolutely infamous moment when Robinhood restricted trading right in the middle of all the chaos. Now, whether it was a technical failure or a deliberate decision, the result was the same. Users felt completely locked out and betrayed, and that just shattered the trust the platform had built. So this huge wave of new users isn't just a business story for Robinhood. It's a story about the entire market, and that brings us to something people now call the Robinhood effect. Just look at this data from a study at NYU Stern. It shows just how different the new investor is. Back in the 90s, the average investor was around 50 years old. The Robinhood investor? About 31. Their account balance is way smaller. And maybe most telling of all, the most common questions have gone from stuff like, what are stock splits, to literally, what is the stock market? So what does that all mean? It means you have millions of newer, less experienced investors jumping into the market. And their trades, thanks to that PFOF model, are being fed directly to the most sophisticated traders on the planet. This mix is fundamentally reshaping how the market behaves.
It's what gives us things like meme stocks, where a company's stock price can explode because of social media hype, not its actual performance. It's a powerful and, honestly, a very unpredictable new force in the market.
So when you put it all together, what do you get? Let's wrap this up and look at the final takeaway for investing in this new era. So here's the breakdown. The promise was simple and powerful, making investing accessible to everybody. The price for that free service is that your trades become the product through payment for order flow. The peril is that this whole system creates new risks, everything from platform outages to crazy market volatility. And the phenomenon is the Robinhood effect itself, a whole new generation of investors who have totally changed the game.
Which leaves us with one final big question. Apps like Robinhood have definitely democratized finance. They brought Wall Street to Main Street right to your phone. But after pulling back the curtain on the business model, the technical risks, and the massive market effects, you have to ask yourself, is it all worth the hidden costs?